Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families in the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Good morning, everybody. And it can still be the end of the corporate age, even if I'm late to it. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that I was late this morning, but I did have to take Milo to the vet because, well, I thought I had cut his eyeball. Seriously, I thought I'd cut his eyeball. I was trying to trim the hair in front of his face. And I do this all the time. Those of you who own dogs, especially smush-mouthed dogs, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you got to trim the face on their hair because basically their face becomes their napkin for whatever they bury their nose into because their nose is flat with their face. You guys know how this goes. So anyway, I was trying to cut the hair away and I thought I got his eye. Went to the doctor. Turns out he had they call it an ulcer on the eye. Scratched his eye. They don't even know if it was from what I did, but it was good that we took him in. They do this really weird thing. They drop green luminescent dye on the eye, so he looks like a Borg now. We got Milo, the Shih Tzu Borg, and what it does is the dye only sticks to the part of the eye that's damaged, so you can see the spot that's messed up, and then you apply lens repair. Basically, it's a gel that helps the eye heal. And then you have to go back to the vet and they drop the dye on there. And once the spot is gone, then you apply some kind of a healing element, but you can't apply the healing element until the lens repair is done. It's really weird. So anyway, I'm glad I brought him in. And now Milo has one green eye and pain meds, so he's doing a lot better. And thank you all for hanging out. We do have Dennis with us as our great stand-in for Markus, the burning German. We have Dennis, the cooking German. He's really the burning, you're really the burning one if you think about it, Dennis. How you doing this morning?
Hello, everyone. Now on screen. Yeah, I'm a professional chef. Yeah,
yes, you are. So you're really the burning. You're really the burning one.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. And forgive my ignorance, but is Ramadan still going on, or is that over, or?
No, we have 9 days left.
9 days left.
30th, okay. On the 30th June, it will end.
Okay.
With a big party that is going for 3 days.
A 3-day party.
Yeah.
And well, I'm guessing with a lot of food.
It's called the Sugar Festival.
Huh?
So it's like Christmas for Christians.
Ah, okay.
In that way, so you can think about it in that way, yeah. And in these 3 days, you get presents, a lot of great food, music, dancing, everything. It's just a perfect time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got 9 days left. Enjoy that. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for being here with us today. We got lots of crazy shit to talk about. Good stuff. This will be a short show because I got to do a call at 1, which is all good stuff. But good morning, everybody. Yes, the Borg dog is fine. Thank you. And hopefully, Dennis is not actually burning. But good morning, everybody. We've had so many people here. There's Jeffrey and Jonathan and Holly. Good morning. Poodle Susan, Melissa H. and Kat and Patricia and Jim and Kem and D-Best, Jonathan Dangle, and so many people. Wow, look at all these. Robert, how are you doing? Density McCartney and Jeanette. Robert, Bev. Good morning, everybody. If I missed your name, hopefully I'll get it another time. So many of you here. Thank you all for staying around. I was just going to cancel the show. I didn't really think anybody was going to still be here. I was just going to move on to other things. But let's talk about the card. Let's talk about Randy Bryce, because Randy Bryce went viral yesterday. Or I don't even know when it started, maybe 24 hours ago. Randy Bryce went viral with his ad, his campaign ad. And it's a really good campaign ad. We ran it yesterday on the show. And it's a screenshot from it. And we have Randy coming on our show on the 28th, which is really cool. And what's is more interesting, so I just want to show you some of the, I mean, these are some of the articles that were hitting yesterday, right? You got AOL dropped a thing, Milwaukee Journal, Washington Post. Now, what's interesting is this is one Washington Post article, Democratic Union ironworker Randy Bryce running against Ryan. We're gonna show you one that came out after this, but this is just one example. It exploded. I can't even. I know it has more than 200,000 views on it right now, right? For a campaign ad that's pretty huge for somebody who's going against Paul Ryan, who doesn't even have the endorsement of the Democratic Party at this point, and probably won't get the endorsement of the Democratic Party proper. And that's probably a good thing, actually, because he's not interested in playing by establishment rules. And we have three parties. We have three parties in this race now. It's been made very clear. So if you're looking for a third party, it's been created. It's called the Progressive Democratic Party or the Progressive Party or Bernie's Party, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But it really exists. And I talked to these people last night. I'm not joking. We're going to get to that. Anyway, these are more articles. Randy Bryce going against Paul Ryan. But the one article that came out this morning was on the Washington Post. And we're going to load it up here, although Washington Post doesn't like the fact that I'm not interested in paying for a subscription. But here. Give me 1 second, guys. This is the story of these are how the connections work and how you see where business people and newspapers really align. Because Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, is also the owner of the Washington Post. And if you recall, the Washington Post was the newspaper that, while they do push out an anti-Trump rhetoric around standard establishment Democratic core, they definitely also push out anti-Bernie Sanders rhetoric. Maybe the Washington Post was the paper that had like 12 negative Bernie Sanders articles in like 10 days. I don't even know, it was more than that. It was like 16. It was ridiculous. Like, their writers had to be on overtime to crank out that much negative press about Bernie Sanders that fast. It was even cited by other agencies. It was like, wow, talk about just pounding Bernie Sanders. You know why? It's because Bernie Sanders and the progressive movement would not allow for a Amazon to buy a Whole Foods. That kind of a merging would be considered no, right? And Jeff Bezos is more interested in the kind of Democrat that Liz Warren is, where Liz is going to sound tough on things and then back off when she's told to. Sound tough, then back off. Liz doesn't really take a stand. She's still an establishment Democrat, even though she sounds like she sounds a little bit like Bernie. When it comes to the actions, it's not going to be there. She's going to make sure that her friends at Wall Street and Goldman Sachs are going to be taken care of, right? And so I'm just saying, the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos is influencing that paper. He owns it. The Washington Post has an interest in staying alive. And so they're the only ad. Here's the only negative headline. This union iron worker wants Paul Ryan's job. He's got a great ad, but a losing record. You know what they're talking about? They're talking about the fact that he's run for office numerous times at numerous positions in a fucking red state. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. That's exactly how you end up winning at some point. Right? How many times did Bernie Sanders lose races? And that was in a more democratic, progressive state. This guy is an iron worker in Paul Ryan's piece of shit Republican-controlled state. But the way they make it sound is, he's a loser, because he lost, because he's a loser. Fuck you, Washington Post, and fuck you, Jeff Bezos. You're greedy. But you're the kind of greedy rich person that makes it seem like they're a nice guy, like Warren Buffett. Buffett's got this rule to control Congress. Everybody sends me that fucking letter. Please never send me the Warren Buffett says this is how we fix Congress, because Warren Buffett invests in fossil fuels and doesn't give a fuck about you. Just like Jeff Bezos. He smiles and pretends that he cares. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He cares about his profit margin. Same with the Washington Post. They don't care what narrative they're pushing out. They care about paychecks. Right? It's going to take between $12 and $15 million to run a competitive campaign against Paul Ryan. That's how much money we're going to have to raise for Randy Bryce. And we're going to have to do this without the Democratic establishment support. And we're going to be going against two parties. And this gentleman will be running as a Democrat. Make that clear. He's running as a progressive Democrat. He'll be running against Paul Ryan and probably an establishment Democrat. And we're going to face this everywhere we go. All right. This is the reality of our situation. Hey, Bev. Milo is doing good. He's doing good. Oh, I need to skip down. I was reading so many of them. Elizabeth Warren is against Wall Street. Yeah, Elizabeth Warren is against Wall Street until Wall Street comes in and says, we need you to back your dog off. And then they do. Because Elizabeth Warren also works within the establishment confines. I know that Scott Galindez is telling me that we need to go easy on Liz. And quite frankly, I think Liz is playing the fence and just waiting to see how things shake out. That's my personal opinion. And I'd like to see her take a bold stance. I'd like to see her take a stance that would definitely cut her ties with the establishment 100%. I haven't seen that stance. That stance would have been Bernie Sanders. Right? Didn't see that. We got that out of other people who were willing to stand up, like Tom Fegan, but we couldn't get that out of Liz. Liz wanted to keep her job. Now Liz is probably going to lose her job. But she's one of those milquetoast right down the middle Democrats that really isn't going to accomplish anything. Just could talk a lot. It's the kind of Democrat we're going to get rid of here in Oregon. Right? What are you guys talking about? Poodles? Are you talking about... Well, no, I'm not even going to get into it. What are we talking about? I'd never seen one before. Well, poodles are more people dogs than companions for other dogs, so maybe another... Shih-Tzu. I don't even know where you guys are talking about dogs. That's all right. I love my dog. Milo's a Shih Tzu, and I would cancel the show for him. I would do anything for him. I was trying to come up with a good reason why we were continuing to do this anyway, because the human race certainly doesn't seem to need... I don't know. I was like, I'll do it for the dog. That's what I'll do it for. That's better. Long story. Moving on. I just wanted to take a look at... I wanted to put some things into perspective. So Randy Bryce is an iron worker. And he just went viral with this campaign ad. And you already have the Washington Post coming out with shit. Well, he's a loser. Even though he's been working iron, a union guy, a leader in his community, and running for office while working full time. Something Paul Ryan has never had to fucking do ever. Paul Ryan was basically handed his roles in government because he had the full support of the GOP machine. Right? And I was looking at his record. It's basically government. I don't know whether he worked at a Chick-fil-A as like a teenager or something and then went right into government. But if we want to talk about a losing record, I just want to highlight that, yeah, he's Speaker of the House of a party that has really bad approval rating at this point and has elected the worst president in the history of the United States of America. So anybody that's proud of the Republican Party at this point is basically delusional. MAGA, right? Legislative director. So before he was Speaker of the House, which he's held this role for 18 years. About time we get rid of this guy, right? I think it's 18 years. No, I'm sorry. Speaker of the House is 2015 to the present. My bad. I think he's been in government 18 years. My bad. Legislative director to Senator Sam Brownback. Senator Sam Brownback. So this is Brownback before Sam was the governor of Kansas? Is that what I'm reading here? Legislative director to then Senator Brownback, who became Governor Brownback, who's just been shown to be a complete failure in Kansas with his trickle-down budget that was vetoed by his own Republican Senate. I'm not really sure you could say that's a great history for Paul. I worked under one of the worst governors we've ever had in Kansas. And before that, he was an aide to Senator Robert Caston. So basically, Paul was handed his career in politics. Looks like Randy Bryce had to work for his. Earn it. Paul Ryan's done the same thing he's done all his life for his jobs. Kiss ass. We've seen this. We see him do it today as a spineless little piece of shit with Trump. Right? So, anyway, just know that to get Randy Bryce elected, we have to not only go against the GOP, we have to go against the DNC. And we'll be running Randy as a Democrat. We have 3 parties. There's a progressive party that is nameless, and it doesn't need a name. I'm gonna show you. Great experience last night with this. Hey, Jilly, how you doing? Xander, how are you? Jim Lockett, Andreas. We have 2 Germans now. One in chat. We've got a text German and a AV German. Here, we'll just AV German. You, Sam, exited today over that BS. Nice, Sander. What's this about Dave Weigel? What are you guys talking about? Gross. What are you guys talking about? Working under the desk. Julie Love, how do you know that Dennis is a chef? He said he was a chef. He's talked about it all the time. I love his room too because he's got this cool like slanted window. Are you okay, Dennis? Oh, he had to go. He's talking to people. Anyway, all right, moving on. So that's Paul Ryan. I didn't even talk about events. Randy Bryce, we got coming on the 28th, and that's awesome. And I hope you guys will share that so we can get a lot of people to watch that. And I really hope Randy Bryce gets on other shows because I know he will. He's probably ended up on CNN and all those other shows, and they're going to do a really good job of deconstructing him. You realize they're going to put him up there to do damage. They're not going to bring Randy Bryce on any mainstream network television program to be kind. They're not going to do anything to help him. He's going to be on the defensive the entire time. The only place Randy Bryce is going to get a fair shot is on independent media. All right. So keep that in mind. He may get views over there, but they're going to make sure that narrative is not in his favor. And that's what we have to combat. You guys are talking about Sam Sater. What? Interesting.
I don't like him.
No?
No.
Gets a lot of views. What does he?
Yeah,
what does he talk about that you don't like?
Yeah, but he is bashing Jimmy Dore, and Jimmy Dore is like the holy grail for me for progressives. So therefore, I don't like him.
Thank you, Poodle Susan. And why is he bashing Jimmy Dore? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, but Jimmy mentioned it a couple of times. So yeah. Therefore, I don't need a reason. If I hear someone is bashing Jimmy, he's my guy. I will protect him from everyone.
All right. Sam hates on Jimmy Dore nonstop. Why? He had Tim Black on his show. He doesn't like progressives. Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Sater is a money grab. I didn't know all these things. Like when we first got into this media thing as the volunteer organization, we started to get to know the YouTube independents, and he was one of the first ones we got to know. We never had him on. Used a couple clips, I think, once, right? But really, yeah, that's he's a shill. Interesting. See, it's where people are shaken out is quite interesting because you have the people that are going to be dedicated to the establishment. You have people that are going to be dedicated to the progressive Bernie movement. You have people that are just out there trying to get ratings. They're going to talk about whatever the topic is hot right now and just waste a bunch of fucking time. Right? So it's interesting how everything's breaking down. Mainstream media, though, is becoming more and more irrelevant as more people come to the web looking for truth, right? YouTube is 50% of Google global search. Google search is 98% of global search volume. 50% of that is YouTube. And if you're younger than me by a few years and then some, you go to YouTube first. You don't go to Google search. YouTube first. That's why YouTube is the Walmart of video and so powerful in spreading our messages, and why they choose to do whatever the hell they want according to their terms of service. Because they can. Because they're powerful and greedy. They are. Scott talking about going, Hillary, I left John's show for a while. I know what you're talking about there. I'm glad we didn't go Hillary. I'm not glad we went with Trump. I didn't like either choice. We all know that. What's her name? Emma Vigland. Let's see. I got this quote in here. It's great. I just skipped to it. I was gonna talk about John Ossoff later, but I want to just cover this now because I saw you guys talking about it in the chat. And he lost. He lost by not much. And yeah, there are all the articles coming out, how this is really a win for the Democrats, why the Democrats don't need to worry about it so much, why this isn't a great win for the Republicans. Look, the Democrats got crushed by the Republicans. You know, everything from the Democrats suck to the Democrats need to take this as a win. And on the Republican side, just, yay, look at us. And basically the message on the Republican side is, look what happens when Trump backs a person, which historically is not the case, but he feels personally responsible for delivering Karen Handel's victory, and that's just the way he is. Everybody, I'm sure, is going to let him feel that way. Emma Vigland summed up this. This is perfect for me. GA6 is being covered this much because Ossoff makes the establishment feel comfortable. Exactly. That said, I hope he destroys Karen Handel. Very conflicted there. It was a loss. I pushed out a tweet. I said, it's a loss for us either way. Both candidates were establishment. There are 3 parties now, but the establishment refuses to admit it. Right? Ossoff was not our candidate. He was not a progressive candidate. Bernie was even like, we want him to win, of course. He's just not that progressive. But that was Bernie's message. Like, yeah, we want him to win. Yep. And that's why he didn't win. They dumped $30 million into his campaign. But they did it wrong. And I'm going to point out the one of the bigger things that was done wrong. They used Facebook for his campaign. I don't know who chose to use the ads that they put on Facebook, but there were 3 ads running, and somebody really fucked up because they didn't do these right, and then they left all 3 out there. And I think it really pushed people off. And you guys can tell me if you saw these ads. The first one said, John Ossoff is this many points behind and needs your money so that he can win. All right? They showed him like 6 points behind. And then another one says, John Ossoff is neck and neck and he needs your money and then he won't be neck and neck anymore. And they showed another poll result. And then the last one was, John Ossoff is 0.1 or 1 point ahead, but we still need your money to keep that lead. All 3 of those ads are still running, or were still running, at the same time. Do you see the conflict there, marketing person for Ossoff campaign? You can't just dump all 3 of those out there, and then I see all 3 show up sequentially in my Facebook feed and go, well, is he ahead? Is he behind? Does he just want my fucking money? Oh, I think he just wants my fucking money. That's not the way to run a campaign, but that's how the establishment does things. Money. Money, money, we need money. Money, money, money. Pictures, money, money. They don't even have a fucking sales thing. Person, money. Person talking, money, yes, money. They have a very limited vocabulary. Very limited vocabulary. Liz Warren in a sentence. I'm against money. Do you have some money? That's basically Warren. Anyway. I love coming over this. Russians get over U.S. and Syria. What are we talking about here, guys? We got Syria. We got
everything.
What is will be worst as shit in a cup? Andreas, what is that a German phrase? Shit in a cup?
Yeah.
What is that phrase, Dennis? Please tell me this.
I don't know to describe it better than shit in the cup.
Shit in a cup. Okay. We don't have an
Yeah.
American equivalent of that. I don't think.
I don't know.
Shit in a cup. I mean, piece of shit. We just say we have a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You guys put it in a cup.
Yeah.
All right, that's you guys use a tool. All right, that's fine. That makes sense. We're gonna.
And we have a discussion in the chat about Pence and Trump. I have the opinion that Trump is better in office than Pence, and so on. That is why Andreas wrote this line.
Right. That's
So
yeah.
move on.
Good point. All right, moving on into some serious stuff. Actually,
Yeah.
we talked about Randy Bryce. We talked about Jeff Bezos, Washington Post. We got over that, but the next thing we're going to talk about is some serious stuff about cops. I'm not going to go on a long cop rant. I just want to show you a couple things that happened. The headline is "I don't have a taser." The article. I didn't even pull the article up. I went to the Philando Castile dash cam footage. But the Seattle Times article is an article about the Seattle Times about the officers that shot the woman who called for help. We talked about this story. She called them for help. They went there. New audio tape says that the officer said taser. One officer said taser. The other officer says, I don't have a taser. And then they load her with bullets. Those were their decision skills. They have a choice of taking one of 3 items with them as a non-lethal weapon. Did you know that? A baton, a taser, and I can't even remember what the third one is. Oh, mace, pepper spray, a baton, and a taser. Why do we need... I mean, first of all, they should just carry all 3 of those and leave the gun at home. Secondly, do we not have anything else? What else do they have in their fucking training book? How about some verbal skills? How about the ability to talk to... There were 15 seconds between their telling the woman to do something and bullets through her body. I want cops that have an IQ that reaches double digits at least. I don't know how we get that. I don't know what we do here, but that's disgusting. Taser. First of all, the fact that they would tase her. Let's see. She's crying out for trouble. She's got problems. If I had a fucking brain in my head as a cop, I could tell that. I don't. I'm going to tase her. No, don't have a taser. I guess bullets will do. You want to know why America's about to go to war with cops? It's that.
Yeah.
And if I saw an armed militia rise up and annihilate a bunch of cops, I don't think I would have a lot of problems with it. I don't think I would. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying at this point, they're asking for it. You reap what you sow. You don't get to go around murdering people because you're idiots. You don't. And I don't know how we deal with it. I'm just going to say cops are asking for it. And the judicial system isn't taking care of it. And that means the people are eventually going to take care of it. Cops are asking for it. Keep it up, cops.
Yeah.
I don't want the bloodshed, but you're asking for it. You're going to get what you deserve. And if it's not going to come through the Justice Department, it's going to come through the fucking people. Whether we do it by votes or by force. You're the ones who are going to make that decision for us. You're the ones who make that decision, not us. Right? And then this, with the murderer that got away with Philando Castile's death. New dash cam footage. I'm not sure why this wasn't available to the jury before, but I'm sure it wouldn't make a difference because I'm sure this cop thought he was threatened. But I want you to, just watch this.
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
Get the baby girl out of here!
He had his grip a lot wider than a wallet. Okay. And I don't know where the gun was. He didn't tell me where the f***ing gun was. He was just staring straight ahead, and I was getting f***ing nervous.
My son loved this city, and this city killed my son. What is it gonna take?
I don't know why that officer's still alive. That's my personal view. I know I'm supposed to want restorative justice here, and I don't see restoration for that officer in the community. I don't want that officer in the community. I don't want that officer to be an officer. I cannot. I do not have the compassion in me to want restorative justice for that human being, because that human being acted so out of line, so fucking asshole-ish. There's just, no, I'm sorry, I can't. There comes a point, there's a great, I just want to tell you something about teaching peace. I got it back here. Teaching Peace. This is the book that outlines restorative justice. Colorado uses restorative justice based on this model. Okay? They've got a less than 10% recidivism rate for crime in Longmont because they've been using this model. But one of the most important tenets of this model is that not all crimes can be restorative justice. Some people don't get restorative justice. And murderers like that lie, shouldn't even had a fucking job as a cop. They don't get restorative justice. They just get justice. There are some differences here. I don't know how, as a people, we move beyond that. To me, that is just so outrageous. So outrageous. You can't even talk to the cop. You can't even, hello, I'm telling you I have a gun. I'm telling you. Where's the NRA, by the way? Where's the NRA, great defenders of people's rights to bear arms? Where are you defending Philando, or is he too black for you?
Yeah.
Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. I have zero respect or trust for 99.9% of the police in the system. I know one cop in the United States of America that I trust, and that's Mike Butler. One. Mike Butler doesn't carry a gun. Mike Butler practices restorative justice. His cops walk the community. That's, there's a difference. It can be done. It can be trained. Right? It just takes actual training. It takes police people doing it, learning their job. Like when a doctor goes to school for 8 years to learn how to be a fucking doctor. But with police, it's 6 months. Here's a baton. Here's a gun. Here's a badge. Go be an asshole.
3 years in Germany.
3 years to be a cop in Germany. I guarantee you it does not take that long here in the United States. You can be a sheriff with an application in California. Are you bipedal and can you speak? We'd like to hire you for the Sheriff's Department of California. I remember seeing the signs everywhere. Everywhere. And they pay good. They pay, that's the thing, is they pay halfway decent. It's like, I'll go do that, shoot people with a gun. Well, all right. And I also want to make it clear. What, Dennis?
Unbelievable, the whole situation you are going through in the States. Just like I said, it takes 3 years to become a police officer in Germany, and the training includes training like a lawyer. You learn the law, de-escalation, mental training, psychological training, how to interact with people, and so on. And
listen to this.
And if a police officer breaks the law, he faces consequences
like a normal citizen.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many issues here. And look, I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite today because I'm angry. Right. I'm very angry today, and I'm not doing a real good job of controlling that anger and redirecting it into some other place. Right? I had too many things going on today. Yeah. And when I've got something like when I got something in my own personal life, I'm like, My dog's really hurt, and I want to focus my energy on that. And I should be able to just focus my energy on something like that, because I should live in a civilization in the 21st century that has cops that do their fucking job, that aren't just blowing people away left and right, that has a justice system that works, it has a democracy that functions. I don't have any of those things. I don't have any of those things. So I look at my dog, and I take my dog to the vet, and I go, my God, this is so fucking petty compared to Philando Castile. This is so fucking petty compared to Yemen. This is so fucking petty compared to what we've done to every minority since the creation of this fucking country.
Yeah.
I have a hard time balancing those, and I get mad. I'm like, I shouldn't have to be here fighting a bunch of greedy motherfuckers for the rest of humanity. I should be able to just focus on my dog. And that's where the big anger comes from. That's where it goes this way. You know, cops, we hired you to do a job. Here's my bottom line. This is what I want to say to all cops. Part of your job is to feel threatened. So if you can't handle feeling threatened, you're not capable of having the job. Yeah. Feeling threatened is not an excuse for blowing everybody away. And I want to get the laws changed so that cops just don't get to say, I felt threatened, and then they can blow people away, because it seems to be a blanket excuse for fucking murder. If you think you feel threatened now by people who aren't even threatening you, just wait. You don't know. You don't know what the threat is yet, cops. People haven't even mobilized to come after you yet. They're this close. This close. We're still trying politics to solve our problems. But every person you shoot every day, cops, brings us this much closer to just rising up. And there are so many more of us. Just keep that in mind. Volume will always win. The ants will always win. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Sorry, guys. I just, there's just too much going on. Too much going on for me to be, I got to be raw about it. And here's Jeff Sessions' answer. He thinks it's more crime.
Oh, gosh.
Right? Jeff Sessions, the DOJ selects 12 cities that are going to send more federal agents to be assholes. It's exactly what we need. Federal agents in places where there's already high crime, because, of course, the crime is our fault. So we're going to send more manpower in we're going to send, that's not going to help much. Million dog march needed. To Milo. Yeah, thank you guys. Oh, you guys are cracking me up. I'm sorry. I'm so angry today. I actually should be in a good mood. There's a lot of good stuff happening. I just, we've talked about this before. Sometimes it's so hard just to balance the enormity of the extremes. You know? Like, I live in paradise. And then I see the news, right? And it doesn't make me feel good to say, I live in a beautiful place while other people are starving and dying because they can't even get clean water in my own country, right? As a veteran, I can't handle the enormity sometimes of the goodness I see in people wanting to change things and the evil I see in our government fighting that, right? Or when you find out that what you thought was a good corporate interest is really just bullshit. There's just too much going on between good things and bad things. They shouldn't be this extreme. It's like weather. Shouldn't be this extreme. and so that's where I'm at. This is
let it all out.
Yeah, it's
don't keep the anger in you.
Well, no, I mean, this is why. Thanks.
Only causes problems with your mental health.
Well, it's too late for my mental health. But you're absolutely. That's why we do this show. That's why we do this show, and it's probably why it's just a very small family that comes here to show up for the show. Although that's growing. It's growing. Scott Galindez wrote this article on the 18th, and it's kind of personal for Scott. I mean, Scott Galindez right now is facing a short life on dialysis. I don't know. I don't know if you guys know. I really didn't know the state of dialysis in the United States of America. But John Oliver did a special on it the other day, And we can't ever run any of John Oliver's clips, of course, because greed. But it's pretty powerful. And it really made me think about Scott and what's going on. And he's basically, this is an article that he wrote, and I really suggest you share it, grab it, read it. Scott's on dialysis, and he's awaiting a kidney transplant. And I think he's been approved for transplant. But because he had to switch companies with Obamacare and everything, he is in this weird situation where they will do the prep for him to go have the operation where he is, but he can't have the operation at that hospital. The new insurance company won't allow it. He has to go somewhere else. I don't know if he can go to that somewhere else. It's this stupid conflict of greed between two insurance agencies and an Obamacare insurance that is a Band-Aid for a bullet hole. And sadly, it was working better than what we had before. That's what nobody remembers. Before Obamacare, things were worse because people didn't have insurance. Then 20 million people got insurance, and it turned out not to be that great. But for people like Scott, it saved his life. And if he'd been able to go do preventative care prior to that, they would have been able to diagnose him with problems before he would have needed dialysis. And then Scott would have been taken care of for a lot less that's going to cost us to take care of Scott now. Do you see how that works? That's what all the other countries in the world are figuring out. If we do preventative care, if we invest in our citizens, in their health care, in their mental care, in their emotional care, in their in all of their care, if we care for our fucking citizens, what a goddamn novel concept. If we care for our citizens as a nation when we're taking their tax money, probably should do something good with that, like care for them with it. If we're doing that, then Scott Galindez would just be one of many being cared for by the many. Instead, Scott is now facing choices. You don't last long on dialysis. 5 years. Your body just can't go through the draining and replacement of your blood 3 days a week. It takes a toll. And it's hours. Interestingly enough, and I thank you, John Oliver, for educating me, Nixon was the one who said, everybody needs kidney dialysis. We should do this for everybody. So there was a fund set up, and that made sure that everybody got kidney dialysis. And there's kidney dialysis centers across the nation. And guess what they are? They're profit centers. Kidney dialysis centers are run by a couple different corporations. One is called DaVita, I believe. And the CEO's exactly what you'd expect out of a guy who doesn't give a fuck about people and only cares about profit. And he actually says that. Says, basically, he doesn't care whether you're a human being or he'll run his agency like he would run a Taco Bell for profit. So it just lets you know that people sit in these places for hours, sometimes without care. They don't have time to change or clean the machines properly before a new person sits down to get their blood drained. That's a little fucking scary. Because they're designed to push people through. What, Dennis?
They get AIDS, etc. from that.
Yeah.
Because they don't clean the needles and so on.
Right.
And yeah.
Exactly.
Like I said yesterday, if you have a single payer system like we have here in Europe, you wouldn't have these discussions.
Yep. It's well.
Fuck you again, greedy bastards in America.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for saying it for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Anyway, it's sad that he's in that place. He shouldn't be in that place. And we're all going to face that at some point. We don't know when something might happen to us. And I know a good portion of the people in our audience have got issues one way or the other. I'm lucky right now. I'm lucky that none of my issues require me to go even more in debt, to take out a loan to cover costs, or to make a decision on whether I'm going to live or die yet. But more and more Americans face that decision every day. Scott's on a ticking clock. And there's nothing we can do for that, because we couldn't go fund enough money to do a kidney transplant. You know what I'm saying? Like that's part of the problem. They've made healthcare untouchable by the vast majority of us. If you can't play through the hoops, you're fucked. It's really sad. Just real quick, another one of 45's things. Ford's going to shift production of its Focus to China after Trump said they couldn't move it to Mexico. Good move, Trumpy. That's great. So, I guess we couldn't stop them going to China. And Trump's okay with that? I would have taken Mexico, honestly. Wonder how much more money it's going to cost them to ship those from China than it would be to have them come from Mexico. Hell, they could have used the catapult. Bing, right? Shoot them over. Corporate in a cup a-holes. Nice. Insurance is evil. Insurance is evil. Wow. Who's awesome? D-Best? Who are you talking about here? You guys are having a good conversation. All right. Let's see that again. China is paying him figures. All right. Now I'm going to talk about some good news, because I do have good news. I do. It's good news with the understanding that it means there's a lot of work to do, but it's good news. Remember I was telling you about this Progressive Democratic Party of Oregon, PDPO. This is their website here. And they're a progressive caucus PAC, if you can add enough names to them. So they're a caucus, which is some kind of official political group of people, right? There's lots of caucuses. They just get together to call themselves caucus. And they're a PAC, not a super PAC, but a PAC. So there's, whatever, the tax benefit to take money in for candidates, and that money is used as a PAC, whatever that is. So lots of PACs exist today. It's the super PACs where you don't have to disclose where your money's coming from or how much money it is, that we don't like. The PACs, on the other hand, that's just a political action committee, and that's a filing with the IRS so that they're not just taking all your money because you're working on politics. That's really what that means. Anyway, I was on a call last night with Larry Taylor, who kind of formed this group, and it was refreshing. It was really cool. They used Zoom. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Zoom. Jilly Love, 3D printed organs, John, is what you guys were talking about for Scott. That would be great. He still has to qualify. I'm pretty sure Obamacare is not going to qualify him for 3D printed organs. But that's a good idea. I like it. I like it. Maybe 10 years from now.
And under your current system, it would probably cost millions.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it'd be cost prohibitive, I'm guessing. Unless we want to do a GoFundMe, get the printer, try to do it. I don't know. Anyway, so they had used Zoom last night, which is similar to Google Hangouts and allows for different things. It's an interesting web conferencing interface, and there were a lot of people there. There were a lot of people at this meeting that are members of the Democratic Party. Okay, so they are card-carrying Democrats within their county. They are also members of this group. This group has money. They had a fundraiser. They raised a decent amount of money for their first fundraiser. They have a plan. They have people taking action. They are doing virtual meetings, and after my conversation with Larry, they are all in 100% on doing weekly broadcasts. Here, I'm going to show you my list. I'm going to show you my list of what we're doing here. This is the rundown, everybody. This is the rundown before it looks pretty. But I want to show you the events. So these are the events that we got going on. We got Randy Bryce on June 28th. Then on 7/5, we have We the People Perspectives on the People Summit with Stephen Jaffe. We're going to bring Stephen Jaffe back. Talk about People Summit. He was there. We're going to talk about Dem Exit, Dem Enter, and all those things with him. And then on 7/6, we will have the Lynn County Democrats. What I'm going to do there is we're not going to broadcast the full meeting, but I'm going to live stream the speaker, Zakir Khan, who speaks at Lynn Benton Community College, and we'll be talking about a number of subjects: lawyer, working for minority rights, civil rights, human rights, and so it's like a big speaker, and I like that. They're going to do a speaker every time. So this is just a test for the Lynn County Democrats. We're going to do a live stream, not a full engagement broadcast, not a full integrate with their meeting. Right? It'll be our normal thing on our end, like when we do a Bernie rally. Okay. Then on 7/15. And I had my dates wrong. I thought this was the 25th, but this is huge. And I mean huge, because on 7/15, Bernie effing Sanders will be at this Iowa CCI event, and we are streaming it. And I'm talking to the event coordinator today after this show about how we're streaming it. And we're doing this for the Iowa CCI group, or in coordinating with them. Scott's going to be there. We're going to have cameras. We're going to have interviews. We're going to have Bernie. This is going to be badass. Then on 7/20, we have the Progressive Democratic Party of Oregon monthly meeting engagement broadcast. That's going to be a full-on integrated questions discussion with the live audience and their meeting, okay, in person. I don't know where this is going to be. In October, Larry Taylor wants to try to put on his own People's Summit with training and breakouts, just like the People's Summit in Chicago, although smaller, somewhere in Oregon, somewhere in October. We're going to stream that, and they're going to have speakers and then breakout sessions for training, and that's pretty badass. That's a lot of stuff coming up, and we're trying to double book We the People. So you're going to start to see We the People episodes show up on either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday nights. Sometimes there will be back-to-backs, maybe even 3 in a row. That would be really cranking. We'll see how long we can do this. We're up in the game, everybody, because I have support now, buy-in from numerous individuals on the ground level, and from both the Lynn County Democrats and the Progressive Democratic Party of Oregon, working together, same goals, doing different things, but we're gonna put this all together. This is gonna be exciting. It's gonna be fun. Now, before I get any more excited about it, I need your help. Because I'm going to need some dedicated people to be part of the production crew. Because if I'm going to up this game, I got to have people. That means local to Lynn, Benton County, Albany, Corvallis. I'm going to need a few people. And they're asking out there. But if there's anybody here, my goal is to reach more of the people in not just our counties, but in Oregon. They got this whole plan on PCPs out in the rural areas in the eastern part of Oregon, but that's another story. Bye, Cam. Thanks for dropping by. So anyway, and hey, Katie, I need your help. And if you're willing to dedicate some time to help me with other things from wherever you are in the world, that would be great too. I need some people doing some back end things that are important so I can beef this up. Production things, not necessarily tech skill level things, but phone calls, coordination, processes, spreadsheets, research. There's a whole media network that we had in place with BTV at the beginning, and we're needing to bring that back together, coordinated with a ground effort, so that we can grow this network. Larry Taylor is all in on this. I got several people from the Lynn County Democrats that are all in on this, and now it's time to bridge these worlds. I need your help, because you're the audience we're going to start with. And there's not a lot of Lynn Benton County here. I think I got more Germans. So, and thank you guys. Great. If you want to help, Jilly Love, check with Green Party. John, you're not a Democrat. I am a registered Democrat, Jilly Love, but I am working with anybody that wants to work for progressive values. The Progressive Democratic Party of Oregon is a caucus, a PAC. Most of the members are also Democrats, but they believe in more progressive agendas and faster movement than we can get currently out of the establishment Democratic structure as it exists. What I can get out of the establishment Democratic structure is data. I get access to their data, and that's all I really need. That's all you really need. Data, you get people. Larry's got the people. Once you got the people, you get money. You get people, money, and the data. Everything else falls into place. It's already happening right here, but it's happening within the Democratic Party. See what I'm saying? When we were talking about how did the Tea Party move in and take over the GOP, this is probably how they did it. They created a separate group that says we believe in more extreme values than what the core of you do. That group gained power, took over roles and positions, got money. All of a sudden, you got the crazy extreme GOP. This is how it works. I want to do that song. This is how we do it. Bonk, bonk. I don't even know this. It's terrible. But that's really what it is. This is how we do it. Yeah. Get down with the democracy. There we go. Do that again, Dennis.
This is how we do it.
Boom, boom. That's right. This is how we do it. Whoa. And then you can get Hillary in there. Raising the roof in Brooklyn. Raising the roof. There we go.
Yeah.
This is how we do it, everybody. So I'm excited about all of that. And now we've got to do a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. We got a lot of shit to do. A lot of shit. But if we can get people together and we can organize them, put them to process, we can get it done. And I'm excited. It's building, right? Here we are 2 years down the road. When Bernie Sanders lost in the primaries, we thought the world was over. When Trump won presidency, we thought the world was over. And here we are rebuilding within the Democratic Party, a more progressive Democratic Party. And we're getting rid of old Democrats that don't want to be progressive. And we're gaining power and we're gaining strength. And we can listen to the MSM talk all they want, and the establishment can beat their chest to death all they want about what they think. Well, we're not listening much anymore. We've moved on. So I'm excited. 100. Oh, info at Bernie2016.tv. Thank you, Jelly Love. Yes. Anybody who wants to get involved, help with that in any way, right? Virtual phone banking, where I bring, we've got so many things. Just in any way, let me know. Let's go. It's time to beef up and do stuff. But I need people that are capable of dedicating some time, right, consistently. That's the worst thing, is when I know people say they're going to volunteer and do things and then they're not there. And so, and I know it's hard because we've all got jobs. Some of us have health issues. Maybe a lot of us don't have jobs. I know that. Right? So anyway, whatever you can do for us. Bernie did turn the lights on for us. He did, Density. What time are we at here? Because I can't be too late. 12:31. Okay, I have a call at 1 p.m. We're not going to get through most of the stuff Audivore is at. That's not important.
Come on, John. Do your epic last words and let's end the show.
Let's get the hell out of here. I'm just going to skip to the end fun stuff. You guys know where... No, okay. It's not even important. What is the most important thing I want to talk about here? Not this. Oh, well, the end song is hilarious. I will... and I don't remember who sent this to me. Was it Density McCartney? We'll go with climate. Climate real quick. Here. So first of all, I don't know where you guys are. If you're in the United States and you're down in this area of the United States, I'm sorry. But you've got Tropical Storm Cindy and you've got temperatures and all sorts of fun stuff. We're just now getting into the flooding with the hurricanes. They've had constant rain. And so when you have oversaturated ground and you're bringing a hurricane into that ground or whatever tropical storm into that ground, that water has nowhere to go. They have no way to get the water out of these areas. Should be lots of flooding and fun. And then heat. And that should bring insects and all sorts of fun part of the country. As this continues to happen, as they continue to get pummeled, I bet their stance on climate change might change. I'm just going to go there. And if not, natural selection. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Natural selection. 2,500 cities have taken up the climate change fight. 2,500 cities. There's a couple links in the description to a place to talk about this. Green Tech Media. 2,500 cities have taken up the climate change fight. A whole bunch of corporations. There's even a really nice global climate action page here that shows all the different, like nearly 600 cities across the globe, blah, blah, blah. 2,500 cities. I don't know where this is as opposed to where they say up here this. But these are their stats. 209 regions, 2,500 cities, 2,100 companies, 479 investors, 238 CSOs, civil society organizations. 12,549 total commitments, which makes it seem pretty awesome for climate change. And I'm not saying that isn't. This is great. I'm glad we have this listing, but it's not enough. Just keep in mind, no matter what you see here, it's not enough. It's never going to be enough. We are 40 years minimum behind in what we need to do with climate change because we have been spun a narrative that was not the truth. We have been denied the truth by mainstream media on climate change for the sake of ratings and profit. We talk about this all the time. But the reason I'm talking about it today is because of what we're going out with. As we see media try to save itself, right? These networks are trying to scramble for honor and pride and show that they're still decent networks and ratings and whatnot. As more and more people go to the web to seek information on their own and to discover where the truth lies within conversation with others, right? As opposed to a one-way dump of information that we can't even verify with them, right? Which is basically what mainstream media is. Keep in mind, this is a piece. Where did it go? Shit, now I lost it. I was in the middle of showing it to you and I lost it. It's on Facebook. Here, it's called.
John?
Yes, what?
David is asking if you know someone for production and etc. for TV clips. He will write you a message in Slack and he hopes you answer in due to in as fast as you can.
Okay.
I told him you are busy today.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, it's in the chat. That's why.
That's all right. I'll get to it when I can. Hey, David, how you doing? Oh, as far as cutting up clips, I'd be the only person right now who can do that. There may be at-home activism that can do it. That's another thing we need is I need people cutting up clips. Oh, Jeffrey Pearson, thank you. Jeffrey Pearson sent the song. We're going out with this song. He says it only aired once. It aired on the show. There was some interesting comments underneath about it. This is them doing a parody of Schoolhouse Rock. And it's not supposed to be funny. This is true. This was done in 97, I think this was. This is absolutely 100% true what they're talking about in here. And so I could see why they wouldn't play it again because, coming out of a comedy group, it's not funny. It's just the reality of where we sit in mainstream media. So I thank you all for being here and for supporting this channel and all of the independent media channels that you support. I thank everybody that volunteers and does work because I take for granted a lot how much work you guys do in Slack and otherwise and sharing and hanging out here and the fact that you have to do other things. You have lives, you have jobs you have to work. I mean, Dennis is here and he's got Ramadan going on and he's been working 900 million hours a day and he's tired and I don't even know how he's here talking. And then sometimes he has to sleep. Markus is dealing with health problems and then he's got to come back. He's got a full-time job. This is how we do it. We're doing everything we can, working with what we got. And one thing that we have to do for each other is support the truth, support the people that are promoting the truth, and be a part of that message. It's not enough just to support media that is pushing the truth. You are a part of that media. We are the media. Remember, we talked about that back in the primers. We are the media. We are the narrative. We still are. Right? That's become the reality thanks to the internet. It doesn't change the fact that major corporations own our major news outlet that still deliver the bulk of the lies to Americans sitting at home and their lazy boys that don't know any different. This was a parody of it. It's well done. We will see you guys